Welcome to the explainer. You know, we use them every single day, all the time, without a second thought. But what is a question, really? It turns out that behind that simple little question mark lies a secret, powerful logic that actually shapes our entire world.
I mean, it seems obvious, right? It's a sentence that asks for information. But if you dig into formal logic, it reveals that a question is so much more than that. It's this incredibly powerful tool with a hidden engine that shapes our conversations and, yeah, even our own thinking. Okay, so let's get right into the big idea. At its absolute core, the meaning of any question isn't really found in the words you use, but in the complete set of answers it opens up. A question, logically speaking, is basically a map to potential knowledge.
So let's push past the simple grammar of it all and try to understand a question's true function, how it logically carves out a world of possible answers.
And this right here is the foundational idea. Just like logicians can analyze a statement to see if it's true or false, they can analyze questions by looking at the landscape of answers they create. It's a simple shift in perspective, but it's what lets us understand asking with an almost mathematical precision.
So how exactly do we map this landscape of answers? Well, over the years, logicians have come up with three major frameworks to do just that, and each one gives us a unique way to see how questions structure all the possibilities.
The first big theory is called partition semantics. Now, the idea here is that every question you ask literally carves up all of reality, every single possible way the world could be, into a set of neat, mutually exclusive boxes.
For example, let's say you ask, who went to the party? Partition semantics says you've just created a whole series of containers. One container holds all the realities where only Anne went. Another one holds all the realities where only Bill went. A third holds the realities where they both went, and so on. You get it? Each box represents one complete possible answer.
All right, next up is alternative semantics. Now, instead of dividing up all of reality, this theory is a bit more direct. It just says the meaning of a question is the set of all its possible answers. So for who went, the meaning is just the list. Anne went, Bill went, both went. It focuses right on the answer statements themselves, not the complicated worlds behind them.
And that brings us to a more recent and really powerful framework, inquisitive semantics. And what's so cool about it is that it creates one unified system for both statements and questions. It sees all communication as this mix of providing information and raising issues.
This is where inquisitive semantics really shines. It shows us that a statement, like, Anne went to the party, its job is to provide information by narrowing down reality to just one possibility. But a question does the opposite. It raises an issue. It highlights several possibilities all at once and basically invites us to figure out which one is the true one.
Okay, so with those theories in mind, let's see how this all applies to different types of questions, because believe me, the kind of question you ask dramatically changes the logical map you're creating.
The most basic type, of course, is the polar question. You know it as a yes/no question. Is it raining? Seems simple. It presents two alternatives. Yes, it is raining, or no, it is not.
But hang on a second. Take a look at this question. Is it really just a neutral request for a yes or a no? Is it asking the same thing as, did you go to the party? No way, it's not neutral at all. That negative framing, that didn't you, it's loaded. It carries a hidden assumption. The speaker already expects the answer is yes and is really just looking for confirmation. It just goes to show how even the simplest questions can be packed with bias. And then you've got your classic W questions. Who, what, where, why. Now, instead of just presenting two options, these are wide open. They create a much larger and more complex map of possible answers for us to explore.
So, why does all this formal logic really matter? Well, it's because questions aren't just these passive requests for data. They're the active tools we use to structure our conversations, to manage information, and to guide our own reasoning. There's a whole field dedicated to this, actually, called erotetic logic. It sounds fancy, but it's just the logic of inquiry itself. It studies how we strategically ask questions to solve problems, breaking down these big mysteries into small, manageable steps.
And this is a perfect illustration of that whole process. A detective doesn't just ask the main question. They start with a really complex problem, and they shrink it down into a series of simpler, answerable questions.
Each answer then informs the next question, creating this logical path, a search strategy that leads them straight to the solution.
And what's fascinating is that this whole dynamic can work in reverse too. Sometimes a statement can be so powerful that it just forces a question to the surface of a conversation, whether anyone actually asks it out loud or not.
I mean, if you hear a statement like that, it immediately raises an issue, right? Your mind automatically formulates the question, well, which one was it? That logical link is called question evocation, and it's a fundamental part of how we process information and try to get more clarity.
So, look, if there's one big thing to take away from all this, it's this. Questions are the invisible architecture of dialogue. They raise the issues, they set the agenda, and they guide how we work together to build a shared understanding and resolve whatever is unknown.
Thinking about the underlying logic, the map of answers you're creating, and the real issue you're trying to resolve, that can fundamentally change not just how you ask questions, but ultimately what you discover.